Elena Rodriguez had been a mountain guide in Montana's Glacier National Park for 12 years, quiet and reliable. Each season she took hundreds of tourists to the peaks and brought them down safely. The townspeople knew her as Daughter of the Mountains, but knew nothing about Elena's past, where she came from, why she chose Montana. Why she was so knowledgeable about mountaineering remained a mystery. February 15, 2024, during the peak of winter tourism when an avalanche disaster struck, would show everyone who Elena really was. Which city in the world are you watching this video from today? Glacier National Park stood as one of America's most spectacular wilderness areas, its rugged peaks and pristine valleys spanning over 1 million acres of protected land along the border between Montana and Canada. The park's dramatic landscape included towering mountain peaks, ancient glaciers, crystal-clear lakes, and dense forests that attracted over 3 million visitors annually who came to experience some of North America's most breathtaking natural beauty. The park's winter season transformed the landscape into a wonderland of snow-covered peaks and frozen waterfalls that drew experienced mountaineers, backcountry skiers, and adventure tourists who sought the kind of pristine wilderness experience that few places on Earth could provide. However, winter conditions also created significant dangers, including avalanches, extreme weather, and the constant threat of accidents in remote areas where rescue operations could be challenging or impossible. The small community of West Glacier, Montana, served as the primary gateway to the park's winter recreation areas, housing the guides, outfitters, and support personnel who made it possible for visitors to safely experience the park's winter wilderness, while minimizing the risks that came with mountain activities in one of America's most challenging natural environments. Among the professional mountain guides who worked out of West Glacier was Elena Rodriguez, a 34-year-old woman who had established herself over 12 years as one of the most skilled and reliable guides in the region. To the local residents and the hundreds of clients who had hired her services, Elena appeared to be exactly what her profession suggested: a dedicated outdoor professional with exceptional knowledge of mountain conditions and the technical skills needed to guide clients safely through challenging terrain. Elena's approach to mountain guiding was characterized by meticulous preparation, conservative risk assessment, and the kind of calm professionalism that inspired confidence in clients, while maintaining the safety standards that had given her a perfect record of incident-free expeditions over more than a decade of guiding in some of Montana's most challenging mountain terrain. Her knowledge of avalanche conditions, weather patterns, and emergency procedures seemed to exceed what most mountain guides possessed, suggesting training and experience that went beyond standard certification programs offered through professional guiding organizations. Elena's technical climbing skills, wilderness medicine knowledge, and crisis management capabilities impressed both clients and fellow guides who recognized expertise that was unusual even among experienced mountain professionals. What distinguished Elena most from other guides was her almost uncanny ability to predict and avoid dangerous situations before they developed into emergencies. Her route planning and risk assessment seemed to anticipate problems that other guides might not recognize until it was too late, suggesting either exceptional natural instincts or training in hazard recognition that went beyond what civilian mountain guiding typically required. Despite her professional competence and local reputation, Elena remained an enigma to the West Glacier community. She lived alone in a modest cabin outside town, maintained friendly but distant relationships with neighbors and colleagues, and consistently deflected personal questions about her background, family, or the experiences that had brought her to Montana 12 years earlier. What no one in West Glacier or the guiding community knew was that Elena's mountain guiding career was not her first profession, but rather a carefully chosen civilian occupation that allowed her to use skills developed during a military career that had taken her to some of the world's most dangerous and challenging environments, where lives depended on exactly the kind of expertise she now applied to recreational mountain guiding. Elena Rodriguez was not just a mountain guide with exceptional technical skills. She was Master Sergeant Elena Rodriguez, a 15-year veteran of the Air Force's elite pararescue teams, with specialized training in high-altitude rescue operations, mountain warfare, and emergency medicine that had prepared her to save lives in conditions that would defeat conventional rescue capabilities. Her military background included graduation from the Air Force's demanding pararescue training program, advanced courses in mountain rescue techniques, combat medicine, and tactical operations that had taken her to Afghanistan, where she had conducted rescue missions in mountainous terrain that tested the limits of human endurance and technical expertise under combat conditions. Elena's pararescue career had encompassed operations that required her to parachute into hostile territory, climb technical mountain faces under fire, and evacuate wounded personnel from locations that conventional rescue forces could not reach safely. Her experience included missions where success depended on individual initiative and technical skills that could overcome obstacles that would stop traditional military units. The transition from military pararescue operations to civilian mountain guiding had been Elena's choice after completing deployments that had saved dozens of lives while extracting a psychological cost that eventually led her to seek the kind of peaceful mountain environment where she could continue using her skills in ways that honored her commitment to helping others without the stress and trauma of combat operations. For 12 years, Elena had successfully built a new life as a civilian guide while using her mountain rescue expertise to ensure the safety of recreational climbers and tourists who had no knowledge of her military background or the specialized training that enabled her to anticipate and prevent the kind of accidents that could quickly become fatal in mountain environments. Lena's daily work as a guide provided the satisfaction of using her technical skills in positive ways while maintaining the physical fitness and operational readiness that had been central to her identity as a pararescue specialist. The mountain environment also offered the kind of solitude and natural beauty that helped her process military experiences while building meaningful civilian relationships. Her position in the guiding community also allowed her to monitor mountain conditions and safety issues that could affect other guides and their clients, enabling her to contribute to overall safety in ways that utilized her expertise without revealing the military background that she preferred to keep private. The crisis that would ultimately expose Elena's true background began on February 15, 2024, during one of the busiest periods of Glacier National Park's winter season, when multiple guided groups were conducting backcountry ski tours and mountaineering expeditions in areas where avalanche conditions were being carefully monitored due to recent snowfall and changing weather patterns. Elena was leading a group of 8 experienced backcountry skiers on a multi-day tour through the park's remote northern wilderness, when weather conditions began deteriorating faster than forecast models had predicted. Heavy snowfall combined with rising temperatures created unstable snow conditions that significantly increased avalanche risk throughout the region. As Elena monitored changing conditions and considered options for adjusting their route to minimize exposure to avalanche danger, emergency radio communications began reporting multiple incidents throughout the park as rapidly deteriorating conditions caught several guided groups in situations where immediate evacuation would be necessary to prevent casualties. The situation escalated dramatically when a massive avalanche occurred on Mount Cleveland, the park's highest peak, where a group of 12 climbers from a commercial expedition had been attempting a winter ascent. The avalanche had buried the entire climbing party under tons of snow in a remote location that would be extremely difficult for conventional rescue forces to reach under the prevailing weather conditions. Initial reports indicated that at least some members of the climbing party had survived the avalanche and were transmitting emergency signals from beneath the snow, but their location was in terrain that would require technical rescue capabilities beyond what local emergency services could provide safely under the conditions that existed at the time of the incident. Elena's monitoring of emergency communications told her that conventional search and rescue procedures would be insufficient to reach the buried climbers in time to save lives that could be lost to hypothermia, trauma, or asphyxiation if immediate technical rescue operations were not conducted by personnel with specialized mountain rescue training and equipment. The decision to reveal her true capabilities was made as Elena assessed the tactical situation and recognized that her pararescue training and mountain rescue experience provided the only realistic chance of conducting rescue operations that could save lives that would otherwise be lost to the limitations of civilian emergency response in extreme mountain conditions. Elena's transformation from civilian guide to military rescue specialist was immediate and complete. Using emergency communications equipment, she transmitted the message that would expose her military background while taking operational command of rescue efforts that required expertise beyond what civilian mountain rescue teams could provide. Park Service Emergency Operations. This is Pararescue Master Sergeant Rodriguez requesting immediate operational authority for technical mountain rescue, Elena announced, using the rank and identification that marked her as an Air Force Special Operations veteran with training and experience in exactly the type of emergency situation that was unfolding on Mount Cleveland. The effect of Elena's transmission on Park Emergency Operations was immediate and dramatic. Her obvious expertise and command authority provided exactly the leadership that the rescue situation required, while her knowledge of both military rescue procedures and local mountain conditions enabled her to develop rescue strategies that utilized available resources while implementing techniques that went beyond civilian rescue capabilities. Elena's rescue plan involved using her specialized equipment and advanced technical skills to reach the Avalanche site under conditions that would have been impossible for conventional rescue teams to attempt safely. Her pararescue training in high-altitude operations and extreme weather rescue provided the technical expertise needed to locate and evacuate buried climbers using methods that had been developed for military operations in hostile environments. The rescue operation that Elena conducted demonstrated exceptional technical skill and operational expertise as she navigated dangerous avalanche terrain to locate the buried climbing party and coordinate their evacuation using procedures that required every bit of her para-rescue training and mountain warfare experience. Her ability to maintain communications with park emergency operations while conducting complex technical rescue procedures under extreme weather conditions reflected years of military training that had prepared her for missions where individual expertise and initiative could mean the difference between successful rescue and catastrophic loss of life. The successful rescue of all 12 climbers from the Mount Cleveland avalanche prevented what would have been one of the worst mountaineering disasters in Glacier National Park's history, while demonstrating rescue capabilities that had been hidden for 12 years beneath Elena's civilian guide identity. The revelation of Elena's true background as an Air Force Pararescue specialist had immediate implications for park emergency operations and rescue procedures that recognized the presence of elite military expertise within the civilian guiding community where it could provide capabilities that exceeded standard emergency response resources. For Elena, the exposure of her military identity marked the end of 12 years of successful civilian life, while demonstrating that her pararescue training and experience remained available when circumstances required her unique capabilities to save lives that could not be preserved through conventional means. The park personnel and local residents who learned of Elena's heroic rescue gained new understanding of the hidden military expertise that existed within mountain communities, often concealed behind civilian occupations that masked extraordinary capabilities developed through military service and specialized training. Elena's story became an example within military and civilian rescue communities about successful transition from combat operations to civilian life, demonstrating how former special operations personnel could find meaningful civilian roles while maintaining the readiness to serve when their unique skills became essential for saving lives in emergency situations.
Master Sergeant Elena Rodriguez had proven that military training and experience created capabilities that remained available long after active duty ended, ready to emerge when circumstances demanded the kind of expertise and courage that only specialized military training could provide in situations where conventional responses were insufficient to save lives.
The mountain guide, who had seemed dedicated to recreational outdoor activities, had actually been one of the Air Force's most elite rescue specialists, ready to transition from civilian guiding to life-saving military operations when the protection of innocent lives required pararescue capabilities that could overcome obstacles that would defeat conventional rescue attempts. Pararescue Master Sergeant Rodriguez had answered the call when her expertise was needed, proving that military legends often chose civilian mountain careers not as escape from service, but as continuation of their commitment to saving lives using skills that remained sharp and ready for the moment when conventional rescue capabilities proved insufficient to bring people home safely.